Hello, everybody. I am here to do another movie review, and this time I'm going to do my first live-action movie review. This is actually one I've been wanting to do for a while because I do have a lot to talk about it. And this is a fun little fantasy film from the 1980s called Legend. Legend came out. Actually, its release date is interesting because it was released overseas first before we got it here theatrically. It was released overseas in the UK in 1985. We didn't get it over here until the following year in 1986. Legend was directed by Ridley Scott, same filmmaker that gave us Alien and Blade Runner. In fact, he made this movie right after he made Blade Runner, about 3 or 4 years after. Legend is actually a fun little fantasy film, not very well known. It's starting to become more well known today because of its cult following. The film is basically about a forest dweller named Jack, played by Tom Cruise, who is, yes, this is actually one of his earlier films. In fact, this came out the same year he made Top Gun, which is obviously the film that made him big. And he is in love with a beautiful princess, Lily, played by the beautiful Mia Sara, who the same year did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And he's trying to protect her, or save her, from the evil Lord of Darkness, Tim Curry, as he seeks to use a powerful relic of light to plunge the world into eternal darkness. Well, gee, that sounds similar to the plot of a certain video game that also has the word legend in the title, and that would be The Legend of Zelda. Well, let's put it this way. Legend and Legend of Zelda both have a similarity to each other. They're both about a forest dweller that's saving a beautiful princess from an evil Lord of Darkness that seeks to use a relic of light to plunge the world into eternal darkness. In this case, the relic of light in Legend of Zelda being the Triforce, and the relic of light in Legend is the unicorn's horns. They're a little different, but can't hide the fact that they both share similarities, and it's a coincidental thing. I wouldn't be surprised because the first Legend of Zelda came out in Japan in 1986. We didn't get it over here until the following year in 87. So, and the movie was already out before the game was. So, like I said, it's a coincidental thing. I'm a firm believer in it, but you be the judge of that. That's however you want to believe that is fine with me. But anyway, yeah, Legend was one of those films that it had a very decent budget when it came out. The movie was made on a budget of about $24.5 million. And I think in the 1980s, if any movie had a budget of $20 million or higher, that would be considered a pretty expensive movie because in the 1980s, $20 million was a lot of money for a movie, for production for a movie. It was. And unfortunately, Legend was not a hit at all. It came out, it flopped, it bombed, it wasn't exactly well received by critics, even though some of the things in the film were. I mean, Tom Cruise's performance was praised. Tim Curry as the Lord of Darkness got praised. And that's about it. Until the movie did grow a following when it came out on home video, because usually when a film bombs in theaters, it will usually find its target audience once it comes out to home video. And eventually in 2002, when Universal decided to finally put the film out on DVD for the first time, we finally got our sight on a longer director's cut version supervised by Ridley Scott, since Ridley Scott is well known for producing or putting out director's cuts of his own movies. Almost every one of his films has a director's cut. Alien has one, Blade Runner's got like 4 different versions. Gladiator's got one, Kingdom of Heaven has one, Robin Hood has one, and yeah, even Legend's got one. But anyway, yeah, slowly but surely the film grew over time. One of the major aspects of the film that has definitely aged very well is, without a doubt, its makeup effects. I mean, I am just so impressed that, yes, that is Tim Curry buried underneath all that makeup as the Lord of Darkness. So much so, the makeup effects were so impressive, the film even snagged an Academy Award nomination for its makeup. And even as I watched both versions of the film, I'm still amazed that deep underneath all that makeup is Tim Curry, and what an incredible performance he gave. So yeah, I'm about to talk about both versions of the film, theatrical and director's cuts. Which version of the film is better? Well, the thing is, the theatrical and director's cuts are both they're both entirely different. The theatrical version, I think, flows a little better since it runs at a mere 89 minutes in length. But you know what? And the director's cut is it runs about 24 minutes longer than the theatrical version. So it's again, the extra scenes are nice, but the biggest differences between both theatrical and director's cuts are obviously the extra scenes and the musical score. The theatrical cut has the score done by Tangerine Dream, and the Tangerine Dream, by the way, is just like they're like a synthetic group of guys that work together. They did the soundtracks for a couple of other films, not many, but they did the score for a few movies. And the director's cut was scored by Jerry Goldsmith. I'm sorry to say, as much as I love Jerry Goldsmith's work in movies, and yeah, he's a great composer. Well, he was. He has since passed away. He passed away back in 2004, I think. But yeah, he scored many great movies. The Omen. He scored like 3 or 4 Star Trek movies. Poltergeist, Gremlins, you name it. He scored a lot of great movies. Tangerine Dream's music sounds more mythical and otherworldly, and it fits the tone of this movie way better than the Jerry Goldsmith score. But again, that's my personal preference. Anybody prefers the director's cut music over that, that's okay. I mean, if you do, that's fine. And if you like the Tangerine Dream music, that's great too. Legend has been released on home video countless times. Yeah, I'm ready to talk about the Blu-ray release here. This is actually the third incarnation of Legend I've owned on home video. I've owned the Ultimate Edition DVD by Universal back when it first came out, and then I got the Blu-ray by Universal, and now I finally got this beast of a release here by Arrow Video. Arrow, I think, had the last laugh on Legend because this is quite a gorgeous Blu-ray release. Yeah, it's kind of a bulky one, but yeah, inside here is here's the actual case. This is the actual theatrical poster art for the movie. It's a flipper release, so the other side has So inside here's some production photograph cards, and here are the 2 discs. Yeah, it's a 2-disc release. The first disc is the theatrical cut. The second disc is the director's cut. And the bonus features on the discs are kind of, they're spread out on both. The theatrical cut has the bulk of the newer features, but the bonus material that was on the previous editions have all been put on here. So there's nothing new. All the new stuff, all the old stuff has been put on. A bunch of new things have been added too. So before I get to the Blu-ray, I'm going to look at all the other stuff here. Here's some more production photograph cards. I never opened them up, so they're still sealed. Here's this is a fold-out poster for the movie. As you can see here, I'm not going to fold it out though, because I only got one hand using the camera on the phone. And also here's a production booklet. Got a bunch of photographs and stuff on the making of the movie here, as you can see here. So there's a lot of stuff here. It's basically like, yeah, that's pretty much what the booklet is. It's a pretty neat thing. And, so everything, yeah. And also, I own the soundtrack on CD here. This is the Tangerine Dream score. This was actually not easy to find, but the score is amazing. I don't know if the Jerry Goldsmith version is available, but this is the only one I could locate. So, for the movie. It also has the Brian Ferry song that was from the movie score too, Is Your Love Strong Enough? So, as for the movie itself, basically the video quality varies. The theatrical version, I think, has the upper hand when it comes to video, but since it's the only one that got fully restored in 2K using a 4K scan of the original camera negative. And the director's cut, while Ridley Scott did supervise the transfer of the film, some of the extra footage does look a little muggy, and it does look a little fuzzy and all that. But for the most part, they both look really good, but I'm going to give the upper hand to the theatrical version. So, sometimes, yeah, the theatrical cut will usually get the upper hand in video. So, for the video quality, out of 5 stars, I would give the video 4.5 out of 5. It is a smidgen better than the Universal Blu-ray release, which is, you know, easy to say. The audio, again, sounds really good. Both theatrical and director's cuts both have amazing audio. And the audio comes out very well. Dialogue comes out well. Sound effects, anything that you hear in the movie is great. So the audio, I would also give a 4.5 out of 5. Bonus features, oh man, there is so much in here to look at. It's ridiculous. The theatrical release, I think, gets the bulk of the extras, pretty much all the new stuff. There's a new audio commentary recorded by Paul M. Salmon, who's an author of Ridley Scott, The Making of His Movies. So there's a lot of new stuff, and most of the old features are included on here, and some of the older features are also included on the director's cut release. So I could read all this, but there's a isolated score track by Tangerine Dream, isolated music and effects track, Remembering a Legend, brand new featurette. It pretty much has a lot of the people that worked on the film, cast and crew member, a lot of the crew members, at least one cast member. There's also the music of Legend. It's a 2-part featurette that focuses on the score that was used in both versions. The Creatures of Legend. It's a 2-part featurette. Yes, the Rob Bottin, who did the makeup work on Legend, he's the same guy that also worked on the Thing, the John Carpenter Thing. There's also a 2003 documentary called The Directors of Ridley Scott. It's where the director discusses his career up to that point, including Legend. Opening narration from the edited for television version, and the music video for Is Your Love Strong Enough by Brian Ferry. That's all the material that's on the theatrical disc. Now, the director's cut disc has a few additional things. There's a commentary by Ridley Scott, which was on the original release. Creating a Myth, Memories of Legend. It's an archive documentary that was used on the DVD and the Universal Blu-ray. Original promotional featurette, 2 deleted scenes. There's a couple of deleted scenes that were never included in either versions. The alternate 4 goblins opening. Yeah, there was a deleted scene where in the movie, if anybody remembers seeing the film, we have the 3 goblin characters. The ones that were tracking down the unicorns. There was supposed to be a 4th goblin, but they must have cut that out. And there was a fairy dance sequence too, which again got cut out. Storyboard galleries, 2 drafts of the screenplay by William Hortzberg. I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right because he had a J, that's a weird name. By the way, this is the same guy that also wrote the movie Angel Heart, which came out in '87. Angel Heart's an interesting film. It's got Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it. It's an interesting movie. Yeah, alternate footage from the overseas release plus textless footage. 3 theatrical trailers, 4 TV spots, image galleries. Yeah, this is quite a packed release of the extras. Out of 5 stars, gets a solid 5. There's not much to say. And also, the limited edition release has all this extra stuff, so again, a solid 5 for the Blu-ray, for the extras. The movie itself, out of 5 stars, I would probably give it a 4. Because this movie really has become an iconic film over time. And honestly, I think it holds up really well. The production design is beautiful. The cinematography is great. The acting, well, not the best. But honestly, though, I think Tim Curry does give the best performance in the film, hands down. The makeup work is obviously the thing that holds up about the movie the best. As I said, it picked up an Oscar nomination for makeup. It picked up a BAFTA nomination. I think it might have. It picked up a Saturn nomination for its makeup. Oh yeah, what did it lose to for best makeup? Well, it was up against The Fly that year, so The Fly took the Oscar, unfortunately. But The Fly had good reasons because, again, an unrecognizable Jeff Goldblum, but still. Legend definitely holds up pretty well over time. And it's one of those films that, yeah, it's a shame that it bombed, but nonetheless, over time, it's grown into a huge cult favorite. And the score by Tangerine Dream, like I said, it's fantastic. Now, you could buy the Arrow version. The Arrow version is available in 2 versions. There's just the standalone case by itself, which is about $20. But if you want the limited edition release with the box and all the extra stuff, that's going to cost you a little more. It's about $55 brand new. So that's a pretty expensive box for all this extra stuff. The Universal Blu-ray is still pretty cheap to find. You can get it for under $10. So if you want the Universal version, it's still a good release of the movie. But the Arrow version is just a smidgen better. My personal opinion. There's also the 4K version too, if you wish to have that one. The 4K version is probably a little more expensive though. So, yeah. that concludes that's pretty much all I have much to say about the movie. So if you haven't seen Legend, definitely give it a whirl. It's actually really good. I highly recommend it. Whichever version of the film you prefer is totally up to you. Do you prefer the theatrical version or the director's cuts? The Universal Blu-ray's got both of them. But the only difference is the Universal Blu-ray has them both crammed onto one disc, where the Arrow version, they're both on two separate ones. But again, it's up to you. Whichever version of the film you prefer is totally up to you. Sometimes the director's cut works, and sometimes it doesn't. But in this case, I actually kind of prefer the theatrical version a little more. Well, that's the one I grew up with. First time I ever watched Legend was on VHS, not on DVD, so yeah. But again, it's all about what you prefer. So, anyway, this concludes the presentation. I hope you all have a great day. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There will be more videos to come. So, until then, take care.